Okay, I'm Ian Charles of Wizards. I'm here with Chris Comley, also of Wizards. We're going to talk to you today about VoIP Phone System. Now, what we specifically mean by that is the mechanics of delivering a 21st century phone system. Now, we mean something very. Now, we're going to go on to explain what we mean by VoIP phone system and why it's important. But as a brief outline, perhaps you could tell us what do we mean by VoIP and how does the technology work?
Well, VoIP, being a current buzzword, basically stands for Voice over IP. It means that your telephone conversation, the sounds that you make and that you're listening to from the person you're speaking to, are converted into digital signals and carried over the same internet connection as your emails, your web pages and your YouTube downloads, instead of having to have dedicated separate phone lines that only do the one job.
Okay, what happens at the far end, at the receiving end of the call?
At the receiving end of the call, the packets are churned back into an audio signal by the phone at the receiving end, and the person at the other end just listens to an ordinary phone conversation on an ordinary phone.
Right. So how does this? Previously, we had the technology was much older. I mean, it's well over 100 years old now. The public switch telephone network, or the POTS line, the
plain old telephone system is often referred to. Yes, well, that's obviously been around since shortly after Edison made his first phone call.
Right.
Then it's proceeded from there, largely unchanged until we came to ISDN.
Right.
At which point you had a certain degree of digitisation. You were carrying multiple telephone calls over the same piece of wire, but still only really doing that one job.
Right. So a dedicated circuit again.
Yeah. ISDN is probably the most widely used system for anything except the smallest of phone systems now, be it ISDN 2 or ISDN 30.
Right.
In this country, at least. In other countries, they use it slightly differently. And it's on its way out. BT are actually phasing ISDN circuits out completely by 2025, and that is only 7 to 8 years away. So, in the life expectancy of things like telephone systems, that's not so lot.
No, indeed. Also, we need to bear in mind the fact that this is that the entire phone system, certainly once you get to the exchange, is VoIP anyway.
Well, about the entire, but certainly huge chunks of it. The information between one exchange and the next, when you make a long distance call, is very likely to be carried over some sort of VoIP type circuit,
right,
within the carrier network. So we're really just extending that outwards from the centre to the edges.
Right. So effectively, although we know that there are still people out there who are reluctant to admit that they actually use computers, we end up with an appliance, which is a computer doing one dedicated job on your desk, which makes and receives your phone calls.
Yeah, it looks just like a phone, it works just like a phone because it's a phone, but there's a little computer inside that's doing all the jobs we just talked about. It doesn't matter, you don't need to know how to use it, you just pick it up, dial a number and talk like you have done for the last 50 years.
Absolutely. Well, for however long you've been around. It's
been about 23 years for me. But.
Of course, yes, mere spring chicken like yourself. We have so VoIP phone system means something very specific. It's an emergent technology. It is going to be the dominant technology. And it is the way that all phone systems will be delivered.
Yep.
In the fullness of time. Lots of advantages to that. We're going to cover those on because we go into a lot more detail about the various systems that we resell, and that'll be covered at a later stage. I think we're done there.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Bye now.